to Mindset Transformations Radio Show with your host, Coach Myrna. Do you feel the need to do more with your life? Are limiting beliefs holding you back from true success? Enjoy a unique blend of interviews, discussions, and transformation coaching in every show. Get the tools for success. The Mindset Transformation Radio Show with your host, Coach Myrna.
Welcome to the Mindset Transformation Radio Show and Podcast. I'm your host, Coach Myrna Young, and today we have with us a very special guest, Miss Mimi Williams. Mimi is going to talk to us on the very important subject of racial healing and transformation. And I know that, we are in a little bit of a, racial healing mode regarding our new presidents and what's going on in the country right now. So this is a very good topic. So I hope you tune in to hear how we can heal some of that divide. And Mimi is not only a coach, but she's also an ordained minister. So we're getting it from the biblical perspective as well as from a coach's perspective. So Mimi, welcome to the Mindset Transformation Show. I am going to enjoy our conversation today. How are you?
I'm doing excellent, thanks.
Okay, awesome. All right. Well, in keeping with the theme of the show, I normally like to start off with giving you a tip of the week or some kind of reading that introduces our topic and expands on it a little bit. So this week, I am going to be bringing you an excerpt from a pastor, Pastor Derwin Gray. And Pastor Gray is the pastor of the Transformation Church in South Carolina. I like that word. It's like showing up everywhere. He is the pastor of the Transformation Church in South Carolina. And I found an article that he wrote called "The Church Must Be the Healing Agent for the U.S. Racial Divide." And I thought it was appropriate to tie into our talk today. So here goes. Pastor Gray and his 3,500-member church have been in partnership with the Charlotte Police Department and Police Chief Kerr Putney, as well as the Lancaster Police Department in South Carolina, on the topic of healing the racial divide and facilitating racial healing and transformation. Pastor Gray says the problem of race in the U.S. cannot be solved moving forward without taking into account the country's checkered past. He asserted that the scales of justice have not been equally levied towards black men in this nation, citing slavery, segregation, and Jim Crow laws. It's not something that you can just get over in a generation. That would be like telling Jewish people to get over the Holocaust, he says. He says, I teach our people at Transformation Church not to be colorblind, but to be color-blessed. A principle, he says, is found in Revelation 5:9, which asserts that the Christian faith is for every tribe and language and people and nation. At the end of the day, Christians shouldn't be picking sides, but celebrating diversity, the pastor said. Christians should be on Jesus' side, not the police side, and not, tragically, the victim side, but Jesus' side. God didn't make mistakes by making people with different cultures and different skin tones, Gray said. Together, we are stronger. So that was my introduction to our topic today. So now let me give you a little more information on our guest, Miss Mimi Williams. Mimi says, if more success and personal fulfillment are what you're seeking, then Mimi can definitely help you get from where you are now to where you truly want to be in life. Mimi is a best-selling author, a life transformation expert, and ordained interfaith minister who teaches people from all walks of life to achieve their personal and business goals faster and easier than you've ever imagined. Mimi helps individuals and organizations to get reliable results while enjoying a successful and balanced life. She has recently formed a nonprofit organization called Mindful Werks, and Werks is spelled W-E-R-K-S, that is dedicated to healing and transformation in the areas of social justice, including racial healing, diversity, inclusion, and equality for all people. Mindful Werks helps individuals, organizations, and institutions create impactful social change. Well, my intro, like you and our pastor is speaking the same language, Pastor Gray. So that is awesome. Yeah, what did you think of Pastor Gray's message?
You know, I totally agree with Pastor Gray. I believe that we cannot get past the social ills and problems without understanding our historical narrative. And so I thought that was a great intro that you gave, the article from Pastor Gray. It was excellent.
Yes. Awesome. Great.
Yeah.
Well, I'm getting chills because I like when great minds think alike. So that's awesome.
Mm-hmm. Isn't it awesome?
Yes, it is.
Yeah.
So I gave a very short bio of your work and what you do, but can you tell our audience a little bit more about yourself and why you do the work that you do? Why you started your business and became an ordained minister? What's your calling?
Okay. Well, thank you, Myrna, for having me on your show and for that great introduction. Yeah, I think you're doing a great work here, and I'm very honored to be your guest.
Oh, thank you. Appreciate that.
Yeah. I've been helping people as a transformation coach for many years, and with the use of universal principles like mindfulness and other holistic practices, many of my clients have experienced amazing results. And they've gotten results in the areas of relationships, career, finances, health, you name it, spirituality. And over the past few years, I'm a child of the civil rights era. And so, I went through that, but was able to sort of overcome some of the challenges that many of us experience in our culture, and began to just kind of live a life that was, cool. It was okay, and things looked okay. But over the past few years, I've become very, very concerned about the social challenges confronting our society. And not that these are new challenges, but they're coming at us at a time, I think, Myrna, when we are primed to do some deep work to solve these problems. So let me just tell you a little funny story, kind of maybe funny and sad, that really let me know it was time, for me to do some work and change my area of focus from relationships and finances to something not more important. All of these things are important, but just something very timely. I was talking to a very close friend of mine last year about some of the challenges that I was having in my coaching business regarding, I was trying to move from like one-on-one coaching to group coaching. I know you understand that.
Yeah, I do.
And And my girlfriend happens to be white. And we've been besties for about 25 years now. Our friendship got a little bit shaky during the O.J. trial and the Bush election, but it survived.
That is funny. Yeah, that was our first divide.
Yep.
Mm-hmm. Go ahead.
Anyway, I was sharing how many of my white colleagues in the coaching arena were earning like multiple six figures, some of them even seven figures in their coaching practices. And I was just struggling to fill my events, to get people to come in. And I was just telling her about that. And she, after a while, she started crying. And then I said, what's the matter? And then she said to me, I told my husband just the other night, Mimi's life would be so much easier if she wasn't black.
Oh, wow.
What a concept. So I paused for a few minutes to get up off the floor, right?
I now see where you say it's funny. Yes.
Yeah.
Yep. Mm-hmm.
And then I said, well, dang, girl, you finally get it. And she said, I got it a long time ago. It's just too confusing for me to even talk about it. And so after a few more tears, we started laughing. And then I said, you know what? It's time for me to do something about this confusion, not just for you, but for all the people who find it, difficult to talk about what's really going on in our society. And so, Myrna, after this last presidential election, I decided to just retreat and do some research on how some of these same principles can be used to heal some of our tragic and devastating social challenges,
Wow.
Yeah.
And, I didn't think of the presidential, plug until I was actually talking, and then that just came to me. And I thought, we're going through that right now But the good news is in that particular area, we're actually coming together a little bit more because when President Obama was president, he had a lot of white supporters, and now President Trump has a lot of white supporters, white people that don't support him. So it's not as black and white as it used to be. So
exactly. Yeah. But
that's
what happened? Yeah, I believe after the election, we really began to see the contrast. Nobody can deny that we're facing a very scary time, possibly the most frightening time that's ever existed on the planet. But I think out of that comes great social change.
Yeah. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
You're very right. So, yes. So when did you start Mindful Werks? Actually,
after that conversation with my girlfriend, which was probably in November of last year. We're a very new organization. As a matter of fact, we just got our 501c3 status. And but after that conversation, I began to really think about how some of these coaching tools and techniques that I use with people to heal their deep, problems, inner child work and stuff like that, how I could use those same tools to work with leaders who want to create change in their own communities and in their organizations. And so around January, I started really working toward getting the nonprofit off the ground. And this week we'll be moving into our office, and I'm just really excited, about
that is beautiful.
About the changes that we are about to affect, in our communities, in our families, and in our world. Yeah.
Well, that's great. It's always good. As coaches, we always talk about purpose and giving back, and so I can see definitely that God has given you the purpose of changing lives. And you're right, as you say, getting people from where they are to where they want to be tomorrow. And it could be, you're correct, in relationships. It can be in finance. It can be in, people feeling like you did, that, being black doesn't allow them the same opportunities as their white counterparts. And in a lot of cases, it doesn't. You know what I mean? So it's good for us to give them the tools in order to get past that. And we all know that, when you're from a different color, you have to work harder and smarter and, all the different things. So there are tools that you can use. And there's also some mindfulness, as you say, in how you respond to those challenges. So that is perfect. Continue doing the good work that God has called you to do. So that is awesome. Well, we will get into some more details of Mimi's work when we come back, but we're going to take a very short station break. So stay tuned. We'll be right back.
If you are listening to this broadcast, it means that you are hungry for growth, hungry for change, hungry for insights, revelation, and knowledge. Whatever you need in your life, you will receive it today. For the past 20 years, Myrna has been an entrepreneur. As past CEO of Royal Livery Limousine Service and now CEO of My Helps Coaching and Consulting Services, Myrna has achieved good success. Awarded Entrepreneur of the Year, Myrna knows what it takes to help you be successful. Myrna helps her coaching clients to design a practical plan to close the gap of where they are today and where they would like to be tomorrow. In business, relationships, health, or career goals. That is why Myrna is offering a free 1-hour strategy session valued at $150, totally free. No strings attached. If you are listening right now, go to www.myrnayounghelps.com/contact.us and sign up now for a free session with Coach Myrna. She has helped business owners and other clients just like you overcome their obstacles and set them on a path to success. Take advantage of this offer today. Go to www.myrnayounghelps.com/contact.us right now.
Welcome back to the Mindset Transformation Radio Show and Podcast. I'm your host, Coach Myrna Young, and today we are speaking to Mimi Williams. Mimi is a transformation coach, an ordained minister, and the CEO of her new nonprofit organization, Mindful Werks. In our conversation today, we're going to be focusing on some of the ways that we can have racial healing and transformation based on the state our country is in right now. So, Mimi, as we go into our second segment of our show, I want to ask you, we're throwing around the word transformation. My show is called Mindset Transformation. You're a transformation coach. We're talking about transformation healing. Why do you think that word transformation is necessary in this topic?
Mm-hmm. Well, transformational healing is a broad term, but basically it's really just a set of unique, I would say holistic principles that can assist in releasing what is not working, and then it can help us to move forward, to a greater awareness, I guess, of what can work and what can be done to return to a more optimal state. I think transformational healing acts as a bridge between the old and the inaccurate programming, that we've received in our history that many of us have come to accept. I mean, both white and black people have accepted a lot of the historical narratives that have been told, and many of those narratives are actually not true. But with transformational healing, we can move into an awareness of how life can be when we really tap into our actual potential, and that's what we teach in our programs.
Wow, that was a mouthful there. You touched on you touched on so many different things in that one statement, and I like that because, we know as coaches that a lot of people are operating on principles that have been transferred to them, from their parents, from, their environment. And in order to break through that, then we have to reprogram them. So I like that you're saying that transformation is the bridge between the old paradigms and creating some new paradigms. And definitely it all stems from your awareness, because in order for you to change anything, you've got to be aware of it. So pretty good.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Yeah. And
okay.
So the program that we developed for racial healing at Mindful Werks, it involves 7 pillars that are foundational for healing anything. And they are, first of all, acknowledgement, just like you said, awareness of the historical narrative of any, thing that you're trying to heal. And then connections. Connections are important. Mindful dialogue is very important. And so we teach people how to have comfortable and safe conversations around the topic of race and diversity and things like that. And then the next principle is healing. And so we work with people dealing with the intergenerational trauma that many of our people experience, and then we help the others to deal with their guilt and shame about some of the things that that they're feeling uncomfortable about. And then the last two, of course, hope and action. So those are the 7 principles that we use for our, I guess you would call it our signature racial healing program. But it's so much deeper, obviously. There are several components to each one of those pillars.
Yeah, that is pretty good. And I see you've taken them through the gamut of it all, starting with acknowledgement and ending with, hope and action. So, that is pretty good gamut of taking them through. So how long is your class?
Well,
or program, I should say. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, there are different aspects. I start out with just a short 2-3 hour workshop introducing people to the principles, because actually, Myrna, we are looking for current leaders and emerging leaders who are really interested in working in and on social change. And so to do that, we sort of vet out those people who are really not interested in making a difference, maybe just want to kind of be a part of the difference, which is fine, and they can come. Okay. But then we find people who are really interested, and then the program can last anywhere from 6 weeks to 6 months, just depending on where the person is or where the group is. Yeah, I told a friend of mine the other day, he said, so how are you going to heal racism? I said, well, first of all, I'm not working with the Ku Klux Klan. I'm not looking to work with them right now. Eventually, maybe. But right now, we have to work with people who have some awareness, of how
the crazy thing, and I shouldn't really say this, but the crazy thing is that, the Ku Klux Klan, at least you know who they are. There's a lot of people that are, under the radar that are operating with those same principles. Yep.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
So, that's probably a good segue into my next question, which is, what is a healing crisis, and how do we get to this crisis level? How did we get to this crisis level? Do you think, or maybe I should do a second part of that, do you think we're in a crisis level, and what does that look like?
Mm-hmm. Yes, we are. I believe that we are. The world is in a healing crisis, but particularly in our country, we are in a healing crisis. And one of my spiritual teachers taught that a healing crisis occurs at the point where we have outgrown the old patterns and ways of being and ways of doing, but we're still unconsciously holding on to the old ways because they feel safe and familiar. A lot of us do that even in our personal lives. I think even when it doesn't feel good, people still stay in safe and familiar situations because they are
concept,
afraid.
Huh? What a new concept. Yeah. There's like 50% of the world that's doing this.
They just stay
because
in those patterns.
People fear change, right? And they fear the unknown, so they prefer to stick with something that's not working. Yep. Then change.
Yeah.
Okay. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. But I think that when we get the courage to acknowledge and accept the old ways and then recognize that there's a lot of danger in continuing in those old ways, and that's where we are right now. People, both white and black, are seeing the danger in continuing to operate in those old ways, but they're afraid to move forward, into this better, I guess, understanding and awareness of ways that we can grow, and change our ways so that we serve all people.
So do you think that from the people that you have been in contact with, what percentage of them would you say can change but won't, and ones that don't know any better?
Percentage-wise, I would say the larger percent would be those people that, don't know any better. And I think that's a big part of our division, Myrna. I think that, on both sides, let me tell you another funny story. I was telling a friend that I was going to start doing this work, and it was, on racial healing and inclusion, and, of course, even some of the other areas, sexual preference and stuff like that. And but with the racial healing piece, he looked at me and he says, "Oh, that is so awesome." He says, "You're going to go out there," and this is a white guy. He says, "You're going to go out there and help those black people to heal." And then I was telling a black friend of mine, and she goes, "Yeah, so you're going to go out there and get those white people straight." You know what I'm saying? It's like, it's like we are so divided.
Nobody believes the problem is in their segment, right? They're always thinking it's from the other side, right?
Yeah.
Good point. Good point.
But the percentage is more, I think, with the people who really do not have the awareness of why, you know? Yeah.
Yeah. And that's why I basically asked the question, because that's what I see. You know, if we were to look in the black community, or even not even the black community so much, but in the communities that are not middle class, like lower class, right? Then you would see that a lot of them are coming from basically what you just said. They're holding on to old paradigms, old ways of doing things. You know, they think they should work and get a paycheck, and there's no extra money to do anything. They're not, you know what I mean? So the old ways of doing things are continuing to be done, and it's not because they're afraid. It may be a little part of it, but it's because they don't know any better. So, that's why I do this show, because, again, you have to change those mindsets. So it's mindsets and it's transformations, because you have to change the mindset. So what your definition of a healing crisis, growing the old patterns but are still holding on to it, is that basically what we're trying to teach our clients, is that, yes, if you are not making it, if you are not happy, if you're not experiencing bliss, if you don't have any extra income coming in, how you're doing it is wrong. If you are saying that because you're black, you're not getting ahead, or because you're white, you're not getting ahead, again, that's still holding on to old paradigms, because it's for everyone. You might have to work harder at it, but it's for everyone, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
Right, especially in America. We're not in South Africa or any one of those places. America, equal opportunity for all. Right. Good.
Yeah.
So,
but the thing that we are really not aware of, I believe, is this: there are, and I had to tell you about this dream, but there are, African Americans or black people that have made it, if you will, and I put that in quotes, in America, and because of many, many things, standing on the backs of those that came before us, so whatever, right?
Right.
But it is not easy. However, by the same token, because of the way that our country was set up, it has always been, there has always been a certain sense of white privilege, you understand, and black oppression. And that's what the country was built on. And so I feel that it should not have to be so hard for us to make it, while other people take the easier. Like my girlfriend said, my life would be so much easier if I was white. I mean, that's exactly what she was saying,
Yeah.
But can I tell you about this quick dream? I was the other night. I dreamed about this race, and it was just a run. What do you call it? Like you're running, and there was 6 people running in the race, 3 blacks and 3 whites. The guy shot the gun, and the race was on, and so everybody stood up. And the 3 white people turned around 3 times, and they had won the race. The 3 black people had to run around the entire United States of America in order to win the race. And I feel sometimes like that is, yes, and has been our,
that is
it has been our reality. It doesn't have to be that.
That is profound.
It cannot change until we, like you said, change the mindset. So it's exciting that you're doing, that kind of mindset transformation work, because we really need it, Myrna. We really need it.
Wow. Yeah, that is profound. I got chills again with those words, because it's also very true. And that's why some people just give up, because not everybody has got the fortitude, the sticking to it to run around the whole United States to win a race. They just said, hey, you know what?
But that's what we've had to do,
Right.
So if we had a little bit of that privilege, right, don't you think we'd be ninjas?
Yep. Yeah. So,
but
wow,
it's coming.
This is good conversation. I'm loving it. Awesome. All right. So my next question is, what is the most profound impact you would like your organization, Mindful Werks, to make in the area of transformational healing? What is your mission?
Well, we really want to make a profound impact by, first of all, raising the consciousness of people so that they can understand the devastating effects of our country's history on race and racial injustice and slavery and equality, things like that. They always say, well, it's just time to get over it already, But I feel like if you get cancer and you continue to take an aspirin to cure it, sooner or later, you're going to run into a healing crisis, right?
Yes.
And so a culture that has been created, I believe, in our country, a culture of intergenerational trauma on one hand and intergenerational bias and discrimination, although, these things are unconscious most times because, as we said earlier, people don't know, right?
Right.
So at Mindful Werks, we really want to sort of unravel a lot of those unconscious beliefs, actions, and just thought processes, so that we can address the healing in a deeper way. I think we put Band-Aids and take an aspirin, long enough for our cuts and our bruises, and now we just need to dig deeper into the consciousness of our people and also into the hearts of people so that we can create deep and more lasting transformation.
Yeah, it's going to take a movement, though, because in order to make that change, it's going to have to take a movement. It's not very easy. And I refer back to my intro where the pastor says that you just can't say get over it, because you're right. Our country was built on those foundations. And look at it, it's like so many years later, and we all cannot believe that it's still there.
It's still going on.
It's still there. It's still going on. And look how long Dr. Martin Luther King made his speech. And, we're looking at
he had a dream,
60
right?
years, 60 years later or more. And, we're still not looking at a person, we're still looking at a person by the color of their skin and not their character. It's just, his most famous speech. So that's great. So, the pastor said that the church is the way towards that healing. And as a minister, do you want to give us your take on that?
Yeah, of course. I am an interfaith minister, and so I believe that there's only one God. There are many paths to that God, but I don't have issues with people of different religions and different cultures because, as I said, there's only one God, and we are all, this is what I believe, we are all individualizations of that one God,
Okay.
So each one of us has to allow our own consciousness to evolve to a level of understanding and wisdom, and we can only get that from that one God. So these principles that you work with and that I work with in helping people to, I would say, control, first of all, their own minds, because we don't know how to do that, and also to direct our minds and open our minds to listen to the Creator or that one God, I believe is the way. And so if you're not a very religious person, and even if you don't go to church, you are still a part of the Creator. You know what I mean? Yeah. And so your mind is connected to that one mind, and that's the way we are going to be able to change our society. Myrna, let me say this. I believe that all the things that we've been sweeping under the rug, and denying for centuries, they're coming out now in the open with the smart cameras and social media, and all that stuff. We can see those things that maybe we just didn't see before, and it was easier to sweep under the rug. But now these things are demanding that we change our mindset, that we change our thought patterns, and we change these outdated programs and our actions in order to create that change that we've all been looking for. And I think Mandela said that we've got to, I don't know who said this, but I love the quote, that we have to be the change that we really want to see. And so it starts with each individual. It really does.
I thought that was Michael Jackson with his man in the mirror.
The man in the mirror. You are absolutely right.
It could be Mandela might have said it too, but I remember Michael saying that.
No, I actually think it was the guy that Martin Luther King studied under, Gandhi.
Oh,
Gandhi.
okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Who said that.
Well, I guess everybody has copied it because it's very true. It all starts with you, the person that's looking back at you in the mirror.
The man in the mirror. We had no idea that Michael knew exactly what he was talking about. Didn't know that.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
So that's actually very good what you just said, and it's very true because when you were saying that, my mind wandered on to the people who are in authority. And as you were talking about things that were sweeping on the rug with police brutality, where police with racial profile, are black men and beat them up and do all these different things. And now people are, taking pictures of it and it's bringing it out in the open. And that's just one way because they had this profile that says that if you see a black man, then he's trouble or something like that.
Exactly.
You need to search him and you need to, pat him down and, these different things, and, as a person, as a mom that has a son, and my son was, I remember him telling me that one time he was going into the hospital. His girlfriend just had a baby, and he's going into the hospital, and the police is right out there patting him down and searching him at the hospital.
Absolutely.
So these are things, I know. These are things that they had this mindset that told them, and, our black men probably helped that along by, doing some of the things that they're, being accused of. But I see what you mean. But if we were to all think that we're all connected, and we are, because I'm a strong follower of, Deepak Chopra and, all these things of all one consciousness, and we're all interconnected, and we're, things like that. And those are things that the Eastern culture has always, believed, but the Western culture always thinks that we're all individual. We're, every man is an island unto himself. And, but, when you think that we're all from the one God, Deepak says we're all from stardust or, whatever. But if you think about it that way and you value connection in people, then it will change. And that was very good.
And it happens, Myrna, it happens in an instant. It really does. Once everybody will get to that point because that's where we're all trying to go anywhere, back to the oneness, I believe. Right. And when you get to that point, you cannot hate. You cannot do harm, but we just haven't gotten there yet. The good thing is I believe that we are going to get there. We're going to see that change. Maybe not in my lifetime,
because like I said, there's a movement that are started, and it just needs to get to the West. It's probably, working more in India and, maybe China or something, those kind of, Eastern religions. But, so that's good. All right. Yeah. So let me ask you one last question before we go to our second break. And so we talked about transformation. So why do you think mindfulness is the key to this racial healing and transformation?
Yeah. Basically, what we just talked about, the one mind thing. Mindfulness is just really a mental discipline. It's been around for centuries. But in recent years, meditation and other mindfulness practices have become more widespread, in the West, like you just said, particularly in the areas of medicine and psychiatry. And the scientists are now understanding the benefits of these practices for healing, physical illness, mental illness, and all of that, right? And so that's why when I took this retreat and started studying some of these benefits, things like mindfulness, erasing a lot, or not eliminating, but reducing a lot of the racial bias that people have. I mean, there have been studies done on that kind of thing, and I worked on that and studied that, and I included a lot of that into my programs. And so that's kind of why I believe that mindfulness is key, along with other practices. But the main purpose, I believe, and the motivation of using mindfulness in social change is just to serve humanity through the promotion of awareness. Because I think when we are aware, once we become aware, we just get a better understanding of how these mental practices can create positive change in our lives and also, in the lives of others.
Yeah, so I'm going to, add something to that because, I meditate every morning and I practice mindfulness,
Awesome.
Throughout the day. And I will tell you, my version of it is going inside and being here now, being present in your circumstances. And a lot of times what happens, if we're going to talk about the old patterns and, being stuck on them and things like that, is because you're getting, people are getting what they're supposed to do in their paradigms from outside there. They're not getting it from inside of them. So, one of the things that we do as coaches is we let people understand who they are, not what their mother said they are, not what their spouse says they are, but who they believe they are. And meditating and going inside allows you to figure out what you are. And if, once you figure out what you are, you find out that you're a bigot or that you hate, the other race or something, then you can make steps to change it. But sometimes a lot of people don't even know that they're racial. Honest to God.
No, they don't. They don't.
They have this big old thing that says, oh, that's not me. But then, some of their actions say different. Yep.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's the biggest problem that we're facing, and that's why the awareness thing. When you're mindful, you are aware, like you said, of the present moment, and you can look at that, be an observer, and just see, oh my God, I just did that.
Yeah. We do it unconsciously. Don't even think about it. Right, so
exactly.
The mindfulness allows you to, to go inside and find out who you really are, and it is
and
definitely
really think about your thoughts and your actions. Yeah. I want to say one quick thing before you get to the next session, because you were mentioning that your son was patted down and just profiled because of his color. I remember years ago I was raising my son here in California, and obviously, it's a little bit different in California, and there are not a lot, were not a lot of black people around. And so my son sort of grew up in a different kind of culture. And one of the kids at the school that he was going to, his mother was an attorney. She still lives in San Francisco. And she called me one day, and she said, your son is such a great example for kids. She said, I would love to be able to have my son, spend more time with him. She said, I'll pick him up for school. I'll take him to basketball practice. I'll do all this.
What a great
compliment. And this woman, and she's white. She's white,
Wow.
And I was talking to her the other day. I said, Deborah, can you imagine how that kind of thing can happen? Like you wanted my son to spend more time with Josh so that Josh, a white boy, could be more like my son, a black guy.
So that is rare. You better print that.
I am. But let me say this. As we were talking, I hadn't talked to Deborah in a very, very long time, like 20 years or so. And so I said, so where is Josh? And she said, well, Josh is actually a pilot now, and he flies Air Force Two, the vice president around. My son is not flying the vice president around. I mean, he lives a good life, and he's doing okay. But do you see what I'm saying? There is
he ended up still better off, right?
And the privilege that some people had, even though she thought at that time, and I thought too, and my son did too. I mean, I had to mainstream him and let him realize that there is a difference, son. You're riding around here with all these kids, but, when they stop your car, and your other friends are not in the car, you may get treated differently. So it's a very deep thing, but because
it is.
People like us, like you, and other coaches, and other people who have allowed their minds to evolve to a higher level of consciousness, we can actually address these things with the other, if you will, and I don't like to say that because I do believe that we're all one. However, in our reality right now, many people don't believe that. I think we can address these things with a more conscious application, which makes it safer, easier, and not as confused when we're having conversations. And that's where the healing is going to, really open up for all of us. Don't you think so, Myrna?
Yes, I agree, definitely. And that's basically why a lot of our, black youth are in the position they are right now, because they're saying, talk about your dream of the race. They're saying, why should I have to run around the whole United States when my white counterparts go and get a job immediately? You know what I mean? Why do I have to go for all these interviews? So I might as well sell drugs or something. You know what I mean? Absolutely. And that's the concept that they're coming from. And it's So
and that's the intergenerational
we have to
stuff that we got to work on.
Yeah, so, change doesn't happen by the man on the street or the grassroots, as President Obama made popular. It can't only be from the grassroots. It's got to be from the top as well, because, you've got to give them a bone. We all know that you're going to work and work and work, but you got to get a bone. You've got to get some kind of victory. If you don't get some kind of victory to motivate you to keep going, then you're just going to stop. We're all human.
Exactly. We're all human,
We're all human.
But, when we start from the inside out, things change. And so I believe that the work that you're doing, the work that other people are doing in this higher consciousness movement, you would say, in this country, we're going to all see tremendous change in the minds of our people and our, communities, and it's got to get better,
I have a group that I created. I bored the name, but I just loved it so much that I jumped on the bandwagon, and it's called the Human Potential Movement. And I have a group on Facebook that I have. I invite coaches and teachers and ministers, teachers, anybody that's part of the Human Potential Movement, because we have potential. It's stuck right now in this crisis, as you call it, but, we have potential. All right. Yes. So, all right, well, let's take our last station break, and we'll come back to wrap up this very interesting conversation. We've had a good talk.
Yes, we have. Thanks, Myrna.
Yes. All right, stay tuned. We'll be right back.
If you are listening to this broadcast, it means that you are hungry for growth, hungry for change, hungry for insights, revelation, and knowledge. Whatever you need in your life, you will receive it today. For the past 20 years, Myrna has been an entrepreneur. As past CEO of Royal Livery Limousine Service and now CEO of My Help's Coaching and Consulting Services, Myrna has achieved good success. Awarded Entrepreneur of the Year, Myrna knows what it takes to help you be successful. Myrna helps her coaching clients to design a practical plan to close the gap of where they are today and where they would like to be tomorrow. In business, relationships, health, or career goals. That is why Myrna is offering a free 1-hour strategy session valued at $150, totally free. No strings attached. If you are listening right now, go to www.myrnayounghelps.com/contact.us and sign up now for a free session with Coach Myrna. She has helped business owners and other clients just like you overcome their obstacles and set them on a path to success. Take advantage of this offer today. Go to www.myrnayounghelps.com/contact.us right now.
Welcome back to the Mindful Transformation Radio Show and Podcast. I'm your host, Coach Myrna Young, and today we have had a very delightful guest talking on a very important subject, and that is racial healing and transformation. Now, we learned from Mimi in our last segment that she has a program from her new nonprofit organization called Mindful Werks. And in this program, she helps her clients get through 7 pillars. And that's first acknowledging the problem, becoming aware of the problem, looking at their connections, because we are not islands. We do much better when we're connected to something or someone. She looks at internal dialogue. What is it you're saying to yourself? And we look at if there's guilt and shame, or she looks at whether there's guilt and shame, because guilt and shame is one of the bottom feeders, and you have to get rid of that before you can even move forward. And then, of course, you have hope. If you don't have any hope, then there's no point doing anything, because hope is the biggest thing that we need. Hope to know that we can do better. Hope to know that where we are right now is not where we're going to end up. Hope for our children. Hope that, we can partake in the American dream as well. And then once you've got hope, then you put some action to it, action steps. So, this is Mimi's program, but I fully support it, because that's how you take someone from where they are today to where they want to be tomorrow, which is what every coach does. So as we wrap up our program, as we're out of time, I am going to ask Mimi to tell you of a way that you can get in touch with her if you want to, be part of her program. And I think she has a free giveaway as well. So go ahead, Mimi.
Okay, perfect. Thank you. Yeah, my free gift is a powerful healing meditation for social change. And you can go to Mindful Werks. It's spelled mindfulwerks.org. And you can download the meditation. And eventually we're going to have a time where all of us can meditate at the same time using this powerful meditation. So go to mindfulwerks.org and download that meditation. And I would also like to offer the first 10 people who are interested in a free consultation with me to call this number, 800-260-5711. Leave your name and number, and I will give you a call. We'll have a free breakthrough consultation to see where you are and possibly where you might want to move forward in your endeavors. So, and can I just leave you with this, Myrna? I always say this. We realize that although we can't change our past, we've got to recognize that we must change our future. And the time is now.
Oh, I love it.
Yeah, the time is now.
Very good. I absolutely love it. Yeah, no more sitting around saying, hey, we are black and, the white people have it all or whatever. We can partake of the dream as well. And the time is now to make those changes for your children's sake, because the Bible says you must provide generational increase. And that is my motivation for everything that I do, to make the world a better place than I came into it, and for my children to have generational increase. Because I came through some hard times as well, and I've elevated myself. I came from a very poor country, Guyana, and I'm now in the United States, and living the American dream. So it can happen.
Wonderful. Yes, it can. Right. It really can.
Yes, it can. All right. So as we wrap up, I just want to thank you all for tuning in to the Mindset Transformation Radio Show. We are here on the radio every Wednesday between 5 and 6. But if you can't make it on Wednesday, be sure to subscribe to my podcast. It is called Transform Your Mind with Coach Myrna. You can find it on iTunes or any of the podcast hosting channels, because it's on all of them. If you don't have an iPhone that you can just go on and subscribe, you can pick it up from my blog. Every week I do the show, I blog about it, I put it on a podcast, I put it on YouTube. So there's many, many ways for you to listen. But it's important that you subscribe and listen, because what I'm trying to do is to help you transform your world so that you can live your best life now. And if you would like to be a guest on the show, you can contact me from my website, which is www.myrnayounghelps.com. Myrna is spelled Myrna. And you can send me a note from my website. So once again, thanks for tuning in. Mimi, it has been a blast. It's been a pleasure. I loved our
has
conversation.
Oh, thank you. And
I loved our
enjoyed
conversation.
speaking with
It's
you.
the first time I had a guest on the show on this kind of topic, so it's great. And thank you. Yeah, and all the best with your new endeavors. Wish you much blessings in your company, and hope that you are able to transform some lives.
Thank you very much, Myrna. And love
welcome.
and light to you too, my dear.
All right. Well, thanks again, and just like to say namaste.
Namaste.